joining us here on Radio Row at the American Airlines Center for the Trump 2020 rally. State Representative Jared Patterson joining us, representing HD 106.
That's right. Thank you for having me, and thank you for what you do for conservative listeners in Texas.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate that, and do appreciate you stopping by. How's it feel to be out here today?
You know, it's really electric. It is so exciting to be out here. You know, I was talking to some of the folks in line earlier, and what's very exciting is you've got people that have never attended a political event in their lives are showing up hours early, some of which camping out overnight in the cold for Dallas's take. And, you know, they're here to support the president. They love the president's policies. They love what he's doing for our country, and they're here to support him.
What area of Texas, for those who aren't familiar with HD 106, what area of Texas do you represent?
Absolutely. So I'm in the eastern and northeastern part of Denton County. I live in Frisco, Texas. Denton County is one of the fastest growing counties in the country, in the top 10, and a pretty good Republican area.
And you're next to areas that we were visiting with Chairman Dickey earlier about Republican outreach to these suburban areas that have traditionally been Republican. You know, you talk about Frisco, you talk about Denton County, you talk about those areas. Those are those traditional Republican counties. You've got neighbors, though, who have been those traditional Republican counties that went for Beto O'Rourke, that went blue in the midterms. How do you get those folks back?
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of that's quite honestly been a little bit overblown. You know, I mean, the first midterm election under a new president, under a new party in power, always goes the other way. And so, you know, you had everything lining up against us in that election. You had the shiny new toy in Beto. Of course, he's kind of been found out that everything that he talked about during his race, he has gone far, far left. You know, taking away our property forcibly, taking away churches, you know, being able to have their tax exemption status based on their religious beliefs, you know, just really going after people. So he's kind of gotten found out recently. But, you know, I think that the suburban areas, you know, the fact that we've been able to combine strong Republican leadership in the state of Texas with strong Republican leadership in the White House has led to job growth, financial security for people. You know, folks are able to just raise their families and worry about their kids and getting them to school and getting them home and their extracurricular activities. And that's what most folks are worried about every day. They're not worried about what's going on at the federal government level with the White House, at least, because they know that's taken care of. You know, and so as long as people are working, the economy's good. My congressman has a great line. He says, "What are you upset about, the peace or the prosperity?" And I think that's where people are right now.
We've got a couple of minutes left in this segment with Representative Patterson. What do you say to the voters out there? Because obviously there's a lot of statewide news, which you've obviously heard about,
I've heard
right?
a little bit about that. Yes, sir.
We were talking earlier, and you know it seems like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you've been most disappointed about with all the other stuff that's going on, and y'all have got this caucus retreat that you're about to go to. It seems like you're most disappointed you're not being able to talk about the victories.
Absolutely.
That are out there that are major victories. Is that something that state Republican lawmakers at some point need to get back on message about?
Absolutely. I mean, we've got to get our house together. We've got to get our message straight to voters, which is, at least in Texas, we passed the most meaningful property tax reform in a generation in the state of Texas. The most widespread Transparency Act as it relates to property taxes. We, you know, funded our public schools in a way they've never been funded before. $11 billion over enrollment growth, $5 billion of which goes to property tax relief. Funded $800 million in border security again. And by the way, for the first time in my lifetime, we have a president in the White House that is serious about border security, so that hopefully that $800 million that we're having to spend every 2 years, we can start putting that back into transportation and schools and you know, core state functions of government. But we've got a plethora of things that we are proud of the things that we accomplished, again, with 12 less Republicans this session than what we had the session before. And we need to be out talking to voters about those things and preparing ourselves, because 2020 is coming. Yeah. And, you know, the Democrats want to say that Texas is a battleground state. I personally don't believe that. But the only reason I don't believe that is because I'm confident that the voters will show up to the polls and will vote up and down the ballot for Republicans.
Is the Texas House a battleground area. Because you've heard the discussion that Democrats they're within striking distance of taking the House.
Absolutely. I mean, they absolutely are. I think that we've got to get our act together, and we've got to focus on the next election and reelect Republicans, reelect conservative Republicans, and make sure that we've got the numbers to keep the House. Look, what everything is about in the state of Texas is redistricting. Redistricting's coming up next session. That's going to set the tone for the next 10 years, not only in the Texas House and Texas Senate, but where we draw those congressional seats, and including those 3 or so additional congressional seats that we're likely to get. Who do you want with the pencil and the eraser drawing those maps?
Representative Patterson, thank you.
Thank you.